character. That's not Mark's character. This will be different. I might have to catch myself because I've been DMing for him for 2 sessions in a row. So,
Yeah.
yes, indeed. Well, go ahead and introduce me to Thogak.
Thogak Wolfspeaker Anakathalai is a Goliath that towers over other races. At 9 foot tall, Thogak has to stoop to get in most doors and sometimes bend over when in houses. His long stride and athletic, powerful build contribute to a dramatically longer stride than most creatures. With gray skin, hair, and eyes, he is an imposing figure of raw muscle and strength. In his hands he wields a 2-handed great axe, and along his back are 5 javelins strapped neatly but easily to his back. With no armor in sight, walking around in sandals, Thogak heeds no danger or cold. His search for his companion has led him to these lands, and he hopes to find his companion more alive than his last.
Indeed, he does. Yeah, and so what you have been doing for the past coming up on a year now after having located her a few years previously, having gone missing with another one of your friends, or I guess Thogak didn't know Nady until he found Evelyn that first time. If I'm
Yes,
yeah,
that's
okay.
true.
So
Yeah.
so several years ago, initially with the help of Tarathiel, who came to your village, having known Manai, your role model of sorts.
Yes.
After the death of his friend, Manai visited your tribe and met you and set out on a quest with you to find your other friend, Evelyn, who had gone missing as well, with her friend, Nady, because that's not confusing how I said that. And about a year into that search, Tarathiel ended up giving up and getting, or not giving up, but more so, mysterious, disappearing rapidly.
Deciding to go a different direction.
Yes, very much so. He left in a hurry, kind of citing that he had some sort of other thing to handle of urgency, never to return to the company of Thogak. Eventually, you did find Nady and Evelyn on an island of Cholt, if I'm not mistaken, where they had both received copious amounts of character development. And after a few years of traveling with the both of them, Nady was called off on similar business, something to do personal to her, so she left, and after about a year of just Thogak and Evelyn straight up disappears, leaving no trace. And so for the past year or so, we'll say slightly less than a year, you have been on the road traveling all across Faerun looking for Evelyn with really not much evidence, except for about a week ago when you arrived in the city of Phandalin, where your friend Manai actually met his untimely demise, and where Evelyn went missing in the first place, however many years ago.
Yes.
You didn't find much, only that she had been through the city of Phandalin about like 8 months ago, maybe. So really after that, the trail went cold. The next city in line in the direction that you're heading is the swamp city of Blackbriar. And for the past week or so, you have been traveling there, having taken a job from the grocer in Phandalin to deliver a cart of goods, with your traveling guide, who you have brought along to show you the ways of Faerun, the continent. An aged halfling fellow named Sanson. You two have been traveling together for almost that entire year, so we open on Thogak.
And how do I spell his name? Just
Sanson, that is Sanzin.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. So yes, that's what you've been up to, and I will lead you in with this, as I've typed in my notes, lead in. So, with a calm exhale, you open your eyes. Trees surround you where you stand and continue to extend outwards from you into infinity, it seems. The ground is flat, allowing your eye to travel far into the woods until a distant haze encompasses the horizon. A subtle breeze drifts through the trees, cool and soft. It rustles the leaves of the trees. You can hear it so clearly. The wind, the leaves, but no animals. It seems as if you stand here entirely alone amidst a calming wood. Thogak? A voice sounds from in front of you, and you see her, clad in loose white cloth which drifts carelessly in the breeze. Evelyn stands before you. You're not sure if she was always there or if she just appeared, but there she stands nonetheless. What would you like to do?
Evelyn?
No response.
Going to take a few rush steps forward.
Okay. So you're standing there kind of amidst this wood, and you put one foot forward and manage to get a foot ahead of you, but as you begin to move, this breeze that's blowing through the trees, it pushes against you. It's almost as if it's trying to contest your movement. Like it's trying to hold you in place.
Going to try a little harder
Okay.
and see if that does anything.
Give me a strength check. We'll say an athletics.
Strength check. All right. 24 in total, 17 on the die.
Okay, that gets you Yeah, so you definitely kind of begin to push your way through this wind, and the closer you move towards Evelyn, the more extreme it becomes, to the point of you even still having to brace yourself. Evelyn, who stands in front of the source of the wind, whatever it may be, seems entirely unmoved by this gale force turbulence. Her clothes and hair whip wildly around her, yet she stands stationary, like a statue planted firmly to the forest floor. You manage to fight the wind and force your way over to her. As you approach, she extends an arm towards you, inviting you to take her hand.
I grab it.
Okay. So you're like at a 45-degree angle to the forest floor, right? Trying to really, imagine like walking through a hurricane, as bad as the weathermen like to make them seem on the news. You're like at a 45-degree angle, you almost have one arm on the floor trying to brace yourself and just kind of pulling your way towards her as this wind just pummels you. And she extends her arm towards you, and you extend yours and take her hand in your hand. Suddenly, through the wind, you hear a very uncomfortable noise, some sort of high-pitched, resonating ringing, which easily cuts through the howling wind. You feel something happening to Evelyn's hand beneath the grip of yours. You can't tell how, but somehow she feels fragile, like it's like you're holding like an eggshell with no yolk inside.
I'm going to quickly let go.
Okay. So you let
Evelyn,
go.
what's happening?
No words. She's not even looking at you. Once you get close, you can tell she's almost looking through you, which is somewhat unsettling, as well as everything else that's going on. But so you rip your hand away, and you have to kind of fight yourself to stay where you are in front of her. And as you pull your hand away, you see on her hand these cracks forming, cracks like glass, like a glass would crack, which spread kind of quickly up her arm and across her entire body. And as you pull your hand away, small shards of her break off and blow past you in the wind, kind of catching that wind. This ringing noise begins to just rapidly increase in pitch, and it resonates loudly in your ears to the point of physical pain. As it reaches a climactic pitch, and right as you think your head might burst, a greenish glow begins to emanate from within the cracks on Evelyn's skin. As the light that pours from the cracks in her skin grows brighter, the natural light of the forest begins to fade away until she shines very bright pastel green, and you are surrounded by pitch-black darkness. Within a split second, the wind stops, and Evelyn explodes into a million glass-like shards. Without the wind to contest your weight, in your brace position, you fall to the floor. Yes. So you are in absolutely complete darkness right now. So the light has faded away, and you land not on a soft forest floor as you might expect, but instead, kind of going along by the touch. When you impact it on the ground, it feels as if you're kneeling on some sort of stone.
Just going to, like, kneel a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. This is a dream.
You feel an interesting pain in your mind. You're like,
Nope, not a dream. Then I start feeling around like a blind man for his glasses.
so you do feel what feels like kind of like muddy stone, bits of rock kind of scattered across the ground, loose on the ground. As you kind of start to pat the ground around you, and very gradually a soft glow begins to illuminate your immediate surroundings. You are standing, or kneeling, shin deep in this, like, knee deep, even thigh deep, in a very dense white fog, which is rather eerily lit from within by a greenish glow, not dissimilar from the one that grew within Evelyn. As this light grows around you, you can make out more of your surroundings, and on either side of you are what look like collapsed stone walls.
Like to the left and right of me?
Mm-hmm. Yes. You can only see
Going
about
to,
20 feet from you. It's kind of like there's just like a sourceless light illuminating a circle around you.
I'm going to head towards the right one.
Okay.
Right wall.
Um, so you do. Um, and from what you can tell, it just looks like what once was a building that has been collapsed, essentially, that kind of staggered brick of a
Yeah.
collapsed building, or stone, I suppose. Nothing too special.
Do I have my weapons?
No, you do not.
Am I able to take a brick off of this wall?
If you want to, I suppose.
Yeah, I'd like
Give me
to try.
strength, I guess, but it's not going to be very hard to beat.
8 on the die, 12 in total.
12 in total? Yeah, so you have to fight it an unusual amount for someone of your size.
Okay.
But yeah, a brick kind of pops out of what might have been mortar, at one point, and it's just it's a probably like a foot by a half-foot stone that was used to form the exterior wall of some sort of building.
I'm gonna carry it with me.
Okay, probably not a bad idea.
Guessing that the other wall is about the same. I'm gonna go ahead and walk the direction I was facing.
Okay. So do you kind of like step back into that middle between the two walls?
Is the light following me?
From what you can tell.
Yeah,
Okay.
I probably would.
So as you pull the brick from the wall initially, you do kind of hear like what sounds like a faint fluttering of wings in the distance. Nothing too threatening, I suppose. But so you take this brick, feel its weight. It's definitely a building stone. And you step back into the middle of this mysteriously, fog, just wasteland from what you can see, and suddenly from above you, you hear the intense sound of flapping wings, which coincides with a strong, forceful gust of wind, which kind of blasts the fog at your feet away, outwards from you, revealing cobblestone road, some sort, kind of mud, in between, littered with rubble and debris. Naturally, I'd say your gaze is drawn upwards towards the source.
Yeah, and I have a brick prepared.
You rear back this brick, and above you hovers Evelyn, her wings extended and flapping to keep her stationary in the air. Before you have any time to react, she casts a glowing sword into the air, from the tip of which a light brighter than any you've ever seen explodes, consuming first her and then you. Surrounded by this blinding light, you feel the floor beneath you collapse and you begin to fall.
Oh, damn. I'm holding tight to the brick.
Just hugging a brick, falling through the air.
Oh, shit.
Okay, give me a dex save.
Am I able to see what I'm saving against?
No, you right now,
a...
basically above you from
Okay.
where you're falling, you can see that just, I mean, blinding light above you, and then below you where you're falling, just pure darkness.
Okay, so I would count as blinded. So
Yeah.
13 then.
Okay. So you awaken with a jolt as someone who is falling in a dream. You know, I'm sure you've had that feeling where you're sleeping and you just fall and you just like almost sit up in bed. You know, it's a very uncomfortable feeling.
Yeah.
And rapidly attempt to sit yourself up, headbutting the bottom of the wagon under which you sleep in the process. That will be 1 point of bludgeoning damage.
Oh, 1 point.
So
Ouch.
you come up and just like the bottom of this wagon, and shake the entire thing. The wagon rocks from the force of the blow. Excuse me.
Ow.
By the gods, lad, are you trying to give old Sanson a heart attack, are you? Sanson, aged gnome, whom you know, is sitting by this quiet, kind of quaint, campfire, which is about 20 feet from you.
Sanson. Had the strangest dream.
Oh no, here we go again.
No, don't worry. I won't assault you with my dreams like last time.
Oh, perfectly fine by me. Are you hungry?
Always.
He does appear to be spit roasting something over the fire.
I am going to hurry over there.
Okay.
And,
yeah?
sit down as low as I can.
So it's a tiny fire. It's a proportionate fire to a gnome. So it's a tiny little fire, and he, once you get closer, is spit roasting what looks like some sort of hair over this quaint little fire. And your camp, which sits a short ways off the forest road on which you've been traveling, is surrounded by wood, not too dissimilar from the one in your dream. Maybe some sort of subconscious inspiration, you think. Your camp consists of the wagon that you've been tasked with transporting from the quaint farm town of Phandalin, full of general supplies. As per usual, you and Sanson have used the wagon to create a sort of lean-to tent using the large piece of canvas that covers the wagon bed when you were on the road. About 15 feet from the wagon is the campfire, and about 15 feet away from that are the two horses which pull your wagon, which have been leashed to a tree.
Okay.
So he just kind of sits, you know, homely, a little hunched over. He's comfortable, and he's just kind of spinning this spit over the fire.
I'm just focused wholly on the food at the moment.
Just licking the lips.
Yep.
It does look like a very plump hair, which is nice.
How much longer?
Oh, not long. Matter of fact. And he pulls it off and cuts a sliver off of it and kind of, you know, looks at the color, and he takes a little nibble, and he pulls himself off like a leg and gives you the spit with the entire left remainder of the rabbit. Oh yeah, no, it's not much, but we can eat once we get into the city. So
it is good enough for now, Sanson. Thank you.
No problem.
And I'm going to eat it like a very uncivilized Goliath.
So in about 2 bites, you finish eating this rabbit. It is not much. 2 probably just good, like, you know, half mouthfuls, a comfortable mouthful of solid meat before you're kind of picking small, you know, stringy sinews off of bone.
Mm-hmm.
But it fills you for the most part, you know. You're not too hungry.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, how far are we?
Oh, probably a few hours out. You know, we got to go through the swamp. Matter of fact, might as well get on the road. Travel through the bog is not to be experienced with exhilaration, if you catch my drift.
Yes.
So Sanson stands up and kind of wipes his hands on his front and goes over and starts kind of deconstructing the little canvas tent, you know, flipping it back over and whatnot.
I'm going to help with what I can.
Okay. So that would probably be hooking up the horses to the carriage.
Yeah.
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 Give me an animal handling. Just because I hadn't thought about this,
Oh,
and
no.
we never get to do animal handling checks in D&D, so you're handling two pretty sturdy draft horses. So
Okay.
you don't have a bad animal
A 9.
Ooh, okay. So you do manage to kind of get one unhooked from the tree, as it were, and kind of get it into the wagon, strap it in, and as you go to collect the other one, it seems as if maybe the lead slipped off when you detach the other one, and it is not gone, but it is wandering.
In a slight panic, going to try to quickly grab the lead.
Mm-hmm. So it's about probably like 15 feet from you, just walking. I'll tell you what, give me another animal handling if you're doing it in a panic, moving quickly towards it.
9.
Again? Okay. It worked for the first one, so you do manage to get this horse, right? It kind of jolts a little bit and whips its head around, which actually ends up, thankfully for you, whipping the lead in your direction, which you manage to kind of scramble and grab it. Yeah, so you grab the lead and don't have to wrestle the horse too much. It's a pretty chill horse, so you lead him over to the cart and hook him up alongside the other one, as Sanson is kind of finishing pulling over the canvas and resecuring it to the other side of the wagon. He then stamps over to the campfire and kind of kicks some dirt on it, make sure it's out and it won't recatch. And he loads himself up onto the seat.
Is there space for me?
Oh, there is barely space for you, but I mean, thankfully, it's basically the same as if two normal-sized people were traveling, because it's you and then a smaller race. So
That's true.
It actually kind of fits. And you sit a little more in the middle, so the wagon isn't listing too much.
Listing over to one
It's
side.
not like, yeah, too bad. Although when you do sit down, it's like a good, it just like sinks about 1.5 feet.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna sit up there and try to make sure I'm as balanced as possible.
Okay. So it, takes a second to kind of adjust your position so you're not throwing the horses off balance, and with a flick of the reins, Sanson sets your vehicle into motion.
I am grabbing it tight still.
Yeah. It does not jump. In fact, it's a very gradual start, almost like a 18-wheeler pulling a full trailer of goods, and Goliath, but yeah, so the horses kind of get going slowly, but your vehicle starts to move forward, and after about 15 minutes of travel, you pull out of the forest into a large clearing, which, much like a natural road, extends on either side of your path for quite a distance before it inevitably turns out of sight. About 150 feet in front of you, a wall of impenetrable brush and trees looms, except for a small gap in which seems to allow the road to enter, or perhaps more accurately, swallows the road. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So 15. You said 15 feet in front of me.
150
There's
feet in front of
impenetrable. Oh,
Yeah.
150 feet.
It's
Okay.
a pretty decently sized like clearing that just kind of extends on either side of you. kind of like a separate road with no actual path. Yeah. But
Okay.
unless you wish to contest, your cart moves steadily through the clearing. Between the two forests stood like pitched armies against each other. Painfully, you approach the entrance to the swamp where, in darkness, your heading awaits. Your cart pushes steadily onwards through the natural, threatening gateway into the swamp. Once inside, you can see that the canopy created by the dense tree cover lets little light through. The road, which is surrounded by a thick, goopy, black water, cuts a singular path through the swamp-like environment and represents the only raised land that you can see.
I don't like this.
Oh, not many do. That's why there aren't many travelers on the road. Travel through the swamp is, as Sanson pointed out, monotonous, and you travel for about 3 hours before you lay your eyes on anything of interest, apart from the occasional swamp-dwelling creature, of which, if you would be looking for creatures and stuff, I'll have you give me a perception check.
Yeah, I'm bored as hell.
Okay, there's not much more to do. So...
Perception needs to go, ooh, 4.
Okay, you don't see much. An occasional kind of like ripple in the water, maybe, or maybe a scuttle on a tree, but nothing more than what your periphery picks up. The second you think you see something to look for it seems to have vanished. Which is characteristic of creatures that would live here, not really wanting to remain seen probably, but
Is there anything interesting here?
Oh, there's lots actually. Giant snakes, those are my favourite personally. Large frogs, Sure, there's like a bullet somewhere.
Yes, you say there's lots, but I see nothing. That worries me.
Oh, look over there. And he points, and there's just a giant frog, like, kind of peeking out of the water barely. Kind of like an alligator.
Can we eat that?
I don't know if I'd want to mess with it, to be honest with you.
Alright.
Besides, we don't have the time anyways, so let's just keep rolling, yeah?
There'll be food there, right?
Absolutely there'll be food. Where we're going, I tell you what, this tavern has some great food. You're gonna love it, buddy.
Alright.
Okay. So as you kind of continue to travel, not apart from being pointed out things, being able to see too much, in the distance, a glow attracts your eye. As you move closer, you're able to make out a house raised on stilts above the swamp. It's connected by a raised wooden pathway to another house, which stands atop the glass-like water about 50 feet from the first. Hung around the houses and walkway are several fire-burning lamps which create almost firefly-like lights around the houses, their reflections in the swamp water creating an odd kind of illusion that is, in its own way, beautiful. You pass the houses and begin to see more of them. Every few hundred feet, the space between them seems to shrink. At last, in front of you, you spot a very large wall of blackened stone which stands over 100 feet tall, extending on either side of the road indefinitely before being swallowed by the swamp. At the end of the road...
No, Sensen, where did they get this stone? We've been walking, and I haven't seen any stone.
Well, I'm sure they probably brought it up the river, or perhaps had someone summon it, I don't know.
Oh, magic.
Always magic.
So yeah, this large wall kind of looms in front of you. At the end of the road is a gatehouse, which sits below a rather large reinforced wooden gate. Sanson pulls the cart up to the gatehouse, and a man wearing dark leather armor emerges after a few seconds. Like, he's kind of like looking at you through a little window, and he just peeks his head out, and he just goes, "Oi, who goes there?"
And I stand up on the cart, on the seat.
You have to
And
balance
just,
a little bit. It's kind of shaky.
Yeah. Raise my arms so I'm not threatening. No! It is I, Thogak. I have come... What have we come here again for? Delivery! To Blackbriar.
You stand up from the cart, and he's like kind of sticking out of the gatehouse, and he steps out as you begin to stand up, and he kind of watches you. Just his head follows you as you just continue to grow in height, and then your arm shoots up in the air, and he just kind of looks up at the top of your arm. He's almost like looking straight up into the air at this point. And you say what you say, and he just kind of, maybe a little bit of like spittle almost just coming out of his mouth, and he just kind of looks at you and just goes, "Right, you got your manifest."
Sanson,
I thought you had it.
I
I just
thought
messing with
I
you,
thought
lad.
you.
He
Oh,
reaches under the seat, and he
oh,
has like a list of things, which he hands to this guy in dark leather armor, um, who then kind of walks around to the back of the cart and pulls up the canvas and looks, and he checks it with the list and kind of like, all right, it's two, yeah, all right, and he drops the canvas and he walks back around and hands Sanson the manifest, and walks past back into the gatehouse, and he goes, "Right, pull up to the gate then." Which Sanson does. He kind of maneuvers the horses to walk forward slightly.
going to sit down quickly.
The poor carriage is like like rocks to the side a little bit, and the horses like kind of like paw at the mud under their feet. And after about 30 seconds, after about a 30-second wait, and with a rather loud creaking noise, the large wooden gate begins to open slowly, inch by inch. The door creeps open, revealing the city that sprawls outwards from within. Instantly, before it is even open all the way, you are granted, a sightline straight through the city. As the main road, which is lined with buildings, seems to continue in a straight line from the gate to the opposite end of the large, sprawling settlement, at the end of which a large wooden watchtower looms, kind of at the opposite end of the city, rests, in the skyline above everything else. The sky, which you're seeing for the first time now, having been covered by trees throughout your journey, is incredibly overcast, casting a very dull, diffused light over the city. Once the gate is open, Sanson whips the reins and once again sets your cart into motion. I will send you something now, which is your title card. So this is what, well, it's your title card for your session, which I forgot to introduce as being entitled. This episode is "The Measure of a Man."
All right.
Yeah. So Sanson sets your card into motion. And you pull through the gate and can see on both your left and right what appears to be quite an expansive slum, containing similar stilt-like houses to the ones you saw outside the wall. Inside the wall, however, they climb up the inner wall. They definitely give this side of the city sort of like a bowl-like feeling, since you can only imagine whatever ground they're on is very flat. From what you can tell, they are definitely stacked upon each other, at least 3 to 4 stories tall at the wall. So, I mean, just imagine kind of like favela, but empty underneath. So it's almost like just a bunch of high rises kind of pushed right up next to each other, just wooden stilt houses and things that slope into a ground level slum that you can just barely make out. Really, the ground level buildings you can't make out because they're hidden behind the facades of street buildings.
Gotcha.
Find my place. Beings of every race line the streets, and quite frankly, it's a lot to take in. You see what looks like an orc, maybe a half-orc, hammering away at a hot chunk of metal on an anvil. To your left, you see a human scolding a kobold who is cowering in fear, holding an empty bowl in its hands. To your right. Do you want to say anything or do anything?
Yeah, immediately the thing that catches my interest is the houses on, like, kind of stilts.
Mm-hmm. That'll be to your right and left, by the way.
Yeah, I'm just going to point, like, over Sanson's head, and go, Sanson, why are those houses the way they are?
Oh, that would be the slums then. Once the city expanded outwards like it did, a lot of people, real estate wasn't as open as it used to be, I assume, so they just ran out of space, had to do what they could.
But But why the tall house?
Well, once you run out of horizontal space, the only way to go is up. If you got a large stone wall, you might as well make the most of it.
I see. That's a good idea.
Thogak will
I'll keep
remember
that
this.
in mind.
Yeah. So you see just all these people, the hustle bustle of life right at this entry gate, market stalls, whatnot. As you continue into the city, you see small children of varying races lining the sides of the roads, extending bowls and various different types of receptacles upwards. Some of them hang their heads between their arms, and some of them make eye contact with you. Most of them are very skinny and look quite underfed.
Is this something I would be used to seeing in other towns?
Probably cities. I mean, just kind of orphan, not
Okay.
orphan necessarily, but like urchin beggar children, stuff like that. You have you have since moved out of the slum area, and now you're more surrounded by, um, like you can, if you were to look over your shoulders, you could see those buildings in the distance, you know, through a haze kind of.
Hmm.
But you're definitely into more wooden, primarily wooden with some stone built into them buildings. Um, Very importantly, however, you notice several people, mostly men or male half-elves, or able males of some kind, so half-orcs, you know, strong men, wearing exact black leather armor to the guard at the front gate. All of them bear the same symbol somewhere on their armor, two crossed swords pointed downwards with a sort of crosshair over top where they intersect.
Are these the guards that are like in other places too?
Oh yes, more of a policing force, I'd say. They rule the city, you know.
I see.
Yes.
So it's a widespread idea then.
Oh yes. Although here they do it their own special way for sure. Yes, they do.
Ooh, is it a good way?
No, matter of fact, it's not.
Several of them kind of make eye contact with you before, you know, getting back to whatever conversations they're having in dark alleys and whatnot.
Okay.
Yeah. Sandon continues to drive the cart deeper into the city, and you come to a large, round city center type of area. A large green is quite overgrown. You can barely make out a statue that stands in the middle of the large circle. It's a brass figure, probably just a bit taller than you, standing. The statue itself is standing at attention like a soldier. Um, the road makes a large circle around it, and Sanson drives the cart around half of it before turning right, continuing down the long street that you came in on. As you push further downtown, the buildings grow taller, their structures incorporating more stone than the buildings nearer to the wall. So now, instead of being more like wood with stone, it's stone with wood bracing and such. They also begin to
Okay.
lean over the street slightly. None of them is perfectly erect, you might think. You know, they're kind of leaning in odd directions, uncomfortable directions. Even though the sky above you is open, it almost feels like you're enclosed because of these kind of over-encompassing buildings. Um, you pass under a large enclosed bridge that connects two buildings, under which you seem to witness a few shadier dealings. You can see the opposite edge of the city now, is only 4 or so blocks away. Sanson turns right onto another street, which sprouts off of the one that you're on at a 45-degree angle. And above you, that same wooden watchtower that you saw when you entered the city now looms, so you are at its base. Next to a large barn-like building which resides at its base, with a porch and a matching balcony that run along the bottom and the second floor on both floors, respectively. As you pull up next to this building across the back wall, you see painted the words "The Drunken Owl Tavern and Inn," along with a picture of what looks like a drunken horned owl. Sanson pulls right up to this building, pulls on the reins, stopping the cart.
Oh, very well, lad. This is your stop. Head in there, get us a room, and I'll head across the street and deliver the goods. Meet you at the bar when I'm done.
All right. I'm going to just kind of like climb off one side.
Okay. So you're, I imagine you sitting on
Accidentally
the right
list
side.
the whole thing to the side.
Mm-hmm. So how do you get off the wagon, actually?
Um, Imagine I'd like shift over to the side and just kind of like push myself off,
Okay.
like almost jump.
Oh boy. Okay. So you kind of like do that, and it springs upwards, sending Sanson into the air briefly, and he lands back, but he really doesn't look too surprised by this. You think maybe he's come to expect it. So he kind of does a nice little like whoop and lands back on the seat, and he just says, "Oh goodness gracious, lad, we need to work on your diet."
My diet is fine, and
That's what they
except
will say.
not quite enough of it.
Ah, of course, of course.
Anywho, and he whips the reins, and like with a massive jolt, the horses lurch forward, like whiplashing him. The carriage just takes off across the street.
They're fast!
Only when you're not on it.
Did you get that picture?
The second one?
Yeah.
Yes, just now.
Okay.
Alright.
So you're at the base of that watchtower between, right now you're between that tan building with the arched windows and the barn building there. So you're right at that corner at the barn building, and that's the watchtower which stands above you. Where you're standing, you can't really see it all too well, but you can tell that there is a river. In fact, you're looking straight down that bridge there with the buildings on it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so, are you gonna enter the barn-like building?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm entering.
As you approach the swinging saloon-style doors, you have to wait a moment for several people to flood out of the door. In that time, you can hear the lively sounds of a packed tavern inside. You see an opening and take it. Managing to rush into the door, you have to duck a bit, characteristically.
Ducking under it.
Mm-hmm. So as not to hit your head. And once on the other side, you correct your posture, and I need you to give me a dex save.
Ooh. Alright. Can I see it?
Like I'd say half, maybe not, because whatever's happening is happening as you kind of raise up from crouching through the door.
Okay, well, I just have a advantage on dex against effects that I can see.
Yeah, sure.
Unless I'm blinded, deafened, or incapacitated.
Yeah, you can see it. You can see it then.
So just dex.
Mm-hmm. A dex save.
21.
21. Okay, so you definitely spot what looks like a half full, maybe an entirely full mug of ale flying through the air in your general direction, which you narrowly, kind of skillfully dodge as it collides with the wall next to you and explodes over the table to your left. Let me send you the map of this place. You know, and as it collides with the wall and pours over this table, the men there who you might expect to actually get angry don't. They cast their mugs into the air with a nice "Hey!" and then down their mugs, respectively.
Just going to nod appreciatively.
Well, the entire bar is mid-tavern brawl, except for a few people who sit at tables along the walls, carelessly drinking their respective drinks. The band is playing a very energetic tune on a small stage to your right, and through the commotion you can make out what looks like a bar that runs along the wall to your left. Yeah, and above you there's like an inner balcony lining the second story of the big room.
And they're just having a tavern brawl.
Oh yeah.
Does there seem to be anyone who's like just doing really well?
Give me a perception.
Perception. I'm not good at perception.
You could roll
14.
You only get +0. That's not bad. You're not bad at it. You're just not great at it. 14, you said?
Yeah.
Okay, that meets actually. So yes, there is a half-orc standing on the middle table of the room. People are trying to climb up onto the table, and he's just like, yeah, yeah, just kicking them off, and like holding a mug of ale in one hand and kind of doing nothing with the other. But none of it's like violent per se. Everyone looks like they're having a good time. And the band is egging it on by far. What you can tell from the band, there's like a lute, a flute, and a drum.
And a drum.
Just going ham on that stage. They're playing a very energetic.
getting caught up in the mood and seeing that there's a King of the Hill style thing going on.
One moment, I have to kill a massive fucking cockroach that's climbing on the wall. Oh my god, that's a huge cockroach! Jesus! Okay,
It's gonna fly
oh, it better fucking not. Alright, I'll be right back. Sorry.
right into your face. Just waiting for the scream.
Okay, I'm back. It was not a flyer. Okay.
Okay.
Anywho.
Good.
Yeah, so sorry, what do you do?
Getting caught up in the commotion,
Mm-hmm.
I am going to run over there. Or not run, just kind of like wade my way through the crowd.
I imagine you just like putting your entire hand on a dude's face, which it kind of fully encompasses, just like
Just kind of
shoving
gently
people.
shoving him away, yeah.
Parting the crowd, which when they spot you, kind of like stop from them, like ah. Yeah.
And I'm going to try to displace the person from on top of the table.
Okay. Remind me as to grapple rolls. Do you have to make an attack roll, or is it opposed strength?
It's opposed athletics.
Athletics.
I think the defender can use acrobatics.
Okay. This guy would not. He's kind of what looks like a burly half orc.
Okay.
Not wearing any armor or anything. Yeah, so go ahead and give me a roll for that. You're probably gonna win.
26.
You win. He got a 9. So.
Okay. So I'm just gonna like grab him.
Mm-hmm.
Is he wearing a shirt?
Yes. Very.
I'm going to
barely, but yes.
grab him by whatever I can and just yank him off, and then get on top of the table.
Oh Jesus!
and
No.
say, "Take me down."
Oh God, Kelsey, why did you do this? So you just—I imagine
It is
this.
a challenge.
You come up to this guy who's like, just like, ah, ha, 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 yeah, like kicking heads and just like pushing people off. And you just walk up to him, just grab his leg and just pull it out from under him. He falls, hits the table, rolls off, just like, ah! And you just stand on this table and go, "Take me down." The table collapses underneath you. And you fall about 4 feet to the ground. Give me a dex save.
Okay. 13.
Okay. Yeah. So you land kind of awkwardly on the table. You know, it's a bit kind of. It didn't collapse straight necessarily. Like one of the legs gave way, so it just tilted. So you just kind of like, throw your arms backward and manage to keep yourself on balance and slide off onto the ground. Everybody around you who heard you scream stops for a moment, and then the table breaks and you catch yourself, and they all just go, "Yeah!" and just keep like shoving each other and like throwing ale and all these things. The band is just having such a great time. Like nobody quite knows what to do, but
I'm just going to kind of stand up and decide, well, guess I won. And
yeah.
just going to shove my way to the bar again.
Yeah, so as you say that...
Or not again, but...
Yeah, towards it. You're in about the middle of the tavern now. As you say that, kind of brush yourself off. The band ends on a very, like... like just a very energetic note. And the second, like no sooner than the band ends than the drum player even performs his last pound, the entire tavern stops fighting and erupts into merriment. Everyone who can grab a container of alcohol does, instantly thrusting them into the air. People who you had seen pummeling each other hug it out and return to their respective dwellings within the tavern. So the song's over, the tavern brawl seems to die down.
That was weird.
So you approach the bar, which is behind you, so you turn around and start kind of walking towards the bar. Behind which a woman calmly orders staff to take varying drinks and dishes to different tables. She catches your eye almost instantly, as she almost has a familiar glow about her, not dissimilar from Evelyn on a good day. In fact, she looks pretty similar to Evelyn in her own right. She has very fair skin, glistening blonde hair, which she has pulled into a braid that runs down her back. She takes a moment to brush a stray bang out of her face and tuck it behind her ear, before wiping her hands on the front of her pants and getting back to business. She kind of rushes over to a patron and, gets an order and goes to a keg and pours one and takes it back to him. So you approach and arrive at the bar.
What is that woman's name?
Who are you asking?
Anyone who is there. Even if it's just a fellow bar person.
There is a man sitting like 2 stools down from you. Very drunk, it seems. He's kind of leaning on his fist. He just slowly turns his head and goes, "Oh?" and just looks up at you.
Never mind.
Her back is to
Drink
you.
on, friend.
Yeah. So she's
going to,
slightly to your left down from the bar. Where on the bar would you like to be, actually? Just like middle, kind of?
Yeah, probably... Let's see, I would probably go up, like, to the right, almost.
Okay, kind of by that stairway.
Yeah.
That second
but
to last
not around the
square
corner.
on the right.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So she's towards the middle of the bar. She's at a keg filling up like 2 or 3 mugs, which she's holding in one hand. She kind of does a nice like round motion along the keg on its side and pours them before spinning around and handing them to an employee who's got like a tray who rushes out from behind the bar. And she's just kind of doing stuff with her back to you.
Evelyn?
You see her perk an ear, which give me a perception, I guess.
Perception.
Honestly, we'll see what you get. If it's, I think you're if you want to roll, you can. We'll go with your passive actually, because this wouldn't be something that's too hard to notice, especially since you see her kind of continue to brush that rogue bang out of her face behind her ear. You do notice that her ears appear to have been crimped, right? So like clipped even. Return of that word, but so it looks like maybe she had some sort of pointed ear, which has since been cut into a rounded shape like a human ear. You say that and she kind of perks her ear, but she doesn't turn around.
I'm just going to observe for a bit.
So she kind of finishes wiping down that back bar, which is just covered in ale from pouring it out of all these, leaky kegs and all these things, and she kind of takes a breath to herself and turns around, and it meets your eyes immediately. She just kind of pauses and stares at you, and then she just goes, "My gods, man, I apologize. We don't sell ale by the keg. What do you need again?"
Damn it. You look familiar.
Okay, get that a lot. Hope you understand.
Yes, I'm looking for room for 2.
Right, room for two.
A me and a little one.
Oh, lucky gal.
She kind of like looks you up
No,
and down
it's
again. Like,
the gnome. He's he's my guide.
ah, okay, lucky guy, right. And she spins back around and kind of opens like a drawer, and it has a book in it. And she's scanning through it, tracing the page with her finger, kind of line by line. And she, without even looking over her shoulder, just kind of like does a finger and points like for someone to motion, and a half elf man runs over, hmm? And she whispers something to him, and she turns around and she goes, right, we've got 3 rooms available. You can have 4 or 5. Both have 2 beds.
5.
Oh, very good, 5. That's going to be 5 silver a night. Um,
Alright. I pull out 5 silver.
okay, so she takes your money happily, which she then hands to Kelly, who is the half elf that she called over. And he places a key in her hand, and she looks at it, and then hands it to him, and kind of gives him a nod. And he kind of like looks at her, and she looks back at him, and then he looks at her and he goes, right, if you'll follow me. And he leads you. He kind of exits the bar at the right side, and waits for you to follow him.
I'm going to follow him. And now Thogak is just kind of like questioning in his head, like, was there anything else I was supposed to do? I can't remember. There was a fight.
If you want, you can give me a history check, but
I don't think he would remember too well anyway.
yeah, I mean, no.
No, I'm not gonna, cause, well, whatever. I'll follow.
Yeah, okay. He leads you along the bar to the right, through a doorway which leads to a narrow set of stairs to the right of the bar, which, yes, you do manage to shuffle up. The stairs spit you out onto that balcony above you, which you observed earlier, and which the half-elf leads you along the right side of, towards the door above where the middle of the bar would be. So kind of like on that
Okay.
second story in the middle of the room, there's a door, which he leads you through. Through it, a small hallway extends with about 6 doors, 3 on either side. He leads you to room 5. Which he then unlocks and opens for you. He's just kind of standing there holding the door open for you.
Is this it?
Yeah, room 5, right? It's the room you wanted, yeah?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
very good.
Do I have a key?
He's like holding it. He hands it to you.
I grab it and I just walk in without
Okay.
saying anything.
Very well. And he just like kind of lets the door shut behind you. The room is very well described as quaint. 2 beds, small window opposite the door, which you can observe, out of which you can observe the busy streets below.
So first, does the bed look like it can fit me?
No. Not that there are many. I mean, if you like ball up, you might be hanging off the sides, but at least your feet aren't hanging off, right?
Okay. Yeah.
If you, I mean, you could recycle your pillows instead of having them on the head. You could put them on the foot of the bed so that your ankles don't get ridiculously sore. The backs of your legs as they hang
Yeah.
off the bed. But you can make it work.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to look out the window, see what I can see.
Okay, so you see, you're looking out a window that kind of looks down the river to the south. If you were paying any direction if Thogak would be paying any direction to cardinal direction as he entered the city.
He would be, yeah.
Yeah, so that room, actually no, that's wrong. It's looking to the west, I believe. So you're looking in the same direction that you came in from, right? Basically, you just see the fronts of other buildings opposite the street. You're looking into a second-story window, almost a third story. The second story of this building is a little higher than most of this city, so you're kind of like halfway between the second and third stories of most of the buildings. But really below you, you just see the kind of hustle-bustle of the just kind of dense street which you experience coming into the city.
Okay. And I don't see Sanson anywhere?
No.
Okay.
He would be coming from. Basically, what he did is he took when he whipped the reins and set off, he was going across the river to a building on the corner. Actually, that building in the
Okay.
picture, if you look, the one right next to that tree, is the grocer where he was going. Um,
Okay.
so he's just
Gotcha.
dropping the cart off there, and he'll be heading back. So you wouldn't be able to see him coming from this direction, anyways.
Okay. So I'm going to pocket the key
Okay.
and head back out.
Okay. So you retrace your steps back to the first floor. As you emerge out of the door at the bottom of the stairs, you bump right into a seemingly very drunk halfling who stumbles backwards from you slightly. Um, he's looking just right at the bottoms of your knees, right? And he just slowly raises his head to see your face, very, very slowly, just kind of sizes you up. His head is tilted entirely backwards, and thusly, he just falls straight onto his back.
My word, lad, what do they feed you?
Going to help him up. Not enough.
Oh,
They don't feed me enough.
what do they call you?
They called me Thogak.
Oh, very nice.
He's just like looking you up and down, like, God almighty, what is this?
Do you need help up the stairs?
Oh no, I'm fine. I'm fine. How are you?
I am good.
Oh, that's great.
New city.
Ah, new to the city, are you?
Yes.
Oh. Oh.
Hold on a moment. Okay. He's very obviously looking at your whatever you're carrying on your person. Did you drop anything off in your room, actually, like any bags or any sort of thing?
Probably my bag with my rations and everything.
Yeah, stuff you don't need.
Anything else I picked up on the journey? Yeah.
Okay. So he's definitely very poorly, like, trying to be stealthy about it, but he's looking for things on your exterior, I suppose.
Now, friend,
Oh, yes.
just because I'm new does not mean I haven't been stolen from before.
Stolen from... Stolen from? Who do you think I am?
You don't want to see what will
Stolen.
happen if I find out I am stolen from.
Well,
And I'm going to flex my muscles.
oh my. Oh, look at those. Sharpen an axe on those.
Yes, and I have. No, I'm kidding.
Right. Like, well, my name's not
No.
Friend, first of all. My parents call me a disappointment. And my friends call me Munch. But seeing as you're neither, you can call me... fuck it, call me Munch.
And he, like, extends an arm just, like, almost straight above his head to shake your hand.
Going to shake his hand back.
You're like,
Nice to meet you, Munch.
Oh, pleasure to meet you as well. I'm gonna...
He just turns around and walks into the crowd. Like, he drops his whole drunk act, even. Like, he stops kind of wobbling around. He just, like, and just walks into the crowd. You do see Sansa
I'm
sitting at
going
the bar.
to pat myself down.
You're not missing anything. He rolled way too poorly. Yeah, you're not missing anything. You do see Sansa
Okay.
sitting at the bar, holding a seemingly enthralling conversation with Rhiannon.
With what?
Rhiannon, the barmaid. You just realized
Oh,
you never even
okay.
got her name.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Going to walk up to Sanson and put my hand on his back.
Mm-hmm.
Sanson!
Yeah. As you walk up, you just kind of catch the tail end of him saying,
I know, right? We had to tie two beds together headlong.
"He still barely fit on him." And you pat him on the back. He's like, "Ah, Thogak, good of you to finally join us."
Yes, I got the room.
Ah, very good. And he looks at Rhiannon, and she nods at him. She pours him another cup of ale, and then kind of looks at you inquisitively, still with an empty mug in her hand.
Yes.
What would you like?
Let me retry that, because it's definitely not her accent.
Alright, what would you like?
Ale.
What would you like?
Ale.
What would you like? 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 What would you like?
What kind? We've got the cheap stuff, we've got the good stuff, we've got the better stuff. We make a home brew in the back, if you want that. A lot of people like to try that on the first time through the city, so maybe do that.
What would you suggest, Sanson?
Um, he kind of looks at his drink. He's like,
Well, I get the good stuff, but she's right. You might as well try the homebrew. I think you'll get a good kick out of it.
Let's do that.
Oh, very good.
and he goes, Rhiannon kind of like opens her mouth to say something. He goes,
You know what? It's on me.
and he slaps what looks like 7 silver maybe like on the table, and she gives him a nod and takes it, and she calls another like waiter that you haven't seen over, and whispers something into their ear. They run into the back room and come out with an ale full of or a mug full of ale-like liquid, and they place it in front of you and get on with their business.
I'm going to sniff it, and
Yeah. So it does smell like ale, with the faintest tinge of like cold air, like fresh.
just shrug
cold
and then just start downing it.
air. Okay, down in it. Are you
Kinda
gonna
like
chug the
trying
whole
to
thing?
do halfway.
Okay, halfway. Okay, so you take a sip, and you're definitely downing it. So it takes a second for the flavor to get to you, but it definitely tastes initially like ale. Um, Shortly before, a taste which is very nostalgic, almost very nice to you, kind of emerges from within that taste of ale, and it tastes like your village, like the cold mountain air, the smoke of a campfire, cooked meat, whatever of Goliath camp smells like, I suppose. But it tastes like home. It's the best way to put it.
Just going to stop. Is that why you call it homebrew?
Aye, that would be why.
She kind of scoots down to the other end of the bar and serves another customer.
Going to start drinking some more at a much slower pace.
Mm-hmm. Okay, a respectable pace.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. So, that it? I mean, you're just gonna kind of keep sipping on that. Sip for a
Yeah,
while. Samson does the same.
for a bit.
Mm-hmm. Samson does
And
the same.
just kind of share some peace with Sanson, I guess.
It's very nice. This is a very there was a vibe that you got from the street outside that was very grim, very invading.
Yeah.
Like it's very just dull, and it just feels like a very depressing place. Like even if you weren't even thinking about it, just like entering the city, you feel very like kind of down. But when the second you entered into this tavern, it kind of has just a very nice, upbeat, homely, happy feeling to it, and you definitely take that in with Sanson sitting here. At a certain point, he spins around, kind of puts his back on the bar, and just he's sitting on a stool, and just drinks his ale and watches the goings of the tavern. The band continues playing a little slower songs, but definitely upbeat. You see a few people at the tables eating legs of some sort of bird, maybe, meat things, eating. Some have some sort of nuts that they're just popping back, and sipping ale.
I'm going to just, like, after watching for a bit, just going to get an idea, be reminded, just like, food!
Food! Yes! Rhiannon's like walking by as you just slam the bar, and she's like, ah! and like tosses a few mugs in the air and then catches them on a tray and gives you like a side eye, hands them to Kelly, who's back, and he just runs him into the crowd. She just kind of like adjusts herself, brushes those bangs back behind her ear, and she's like, okay, what do you want? We've got let's see, we've got bread, we've got cheese, we've got meat, chunks of meat, legs of meat.
Yes.
She's just looking at you with like a raised eyebrow.
Fine. Meat.
Meat, right.
Um,
Okay. It's just 3 silver.
Okay. How much meat?
Oh, good amount. Although for you might want to get 2, honestly.
That's what I thought.
Okay, yeah.
Gonna put down, was it 6 silver?
6 silver total, yeah. And Sanson tosses in 3 and he says,
Oh, a loaf of bread, sweetie.
so he like kind of gives him a wink. And she takes your money and dips into the back room and comes out with a tray of 2 pretty okay chunks of meat. It'd be a good meal for a normal person. And then kind of a smaller loaf of bread, which she distributes amongst you. Takes the tray, sits on the back, and then goes down and starts talking to one of the employees.
Okay. Can I tell what kind of meat it is?
Looks like some sort of like pig, maybe some sort of ham or
That's
kind
okay,
of
I
like a
don't care
redder-
anyway.
yeah.
I'm just gonna start eating it.
very dense redder meat. Okay. So you notice a few people looking at you as you devour these chunks of meat. And you eat one.
Assuming they're looking to take some, I'm going to like move my arms protectively around it while giving them side glances and eating more.
Okay, interesting. That's not a unsmart move, as you're about to figure out. So I'm trying to figure out what check to make here. Hold up. Okay. That's bad. Okay, so you're eating, and you finish this first meat chunk, right?
Hmm.
And you go to grab the second one before you've touched it, though. And above you, you hear like a like fluttering of wings, and all of a sudden, a fucking owl just face plants, like a barn owl, just not even that, like a horned owl, just like a large owl, just face plants into the bar next to you, just and shakes the bar a little bit. It stands up and kind of like ruffles its feathers, shakes it off, and just looks at your food with a cocked head. And many of the people in this bar at the same time go, "Oh," and they just like clink their mugs together and just everyone downs their mugs collectively.
You want to get cooked, bird?
Hi. You don't talk to him like that, right?
Rhiannon turns around and kind of points at
Do you know this bird?
I do know this bird. He's a namesake for the bloody place.
Going to take a little bit of my food and just kind of hold it out to it while protecting the rest of my food.
Mm-hmm. It very like and just takes it, and then just kind of like with a very sloppy. It's definitely an older owl. You can tell. Kind of like just takes off and goes up into the rafters and eats it, and then just kind of nestles, like ruffles its feathers and goes to sleep, seemingly.
I go back to eating.
Okay, so you do so, and you feel like that perfect amount of like you didn't overeat, but you didn't not eat enough. You're just like sated. It's very nice. That with the ale, like you feel very pleasant right now. Sanson finishes his bread and he kind of pats his stomach. He says, "Oh well, I guess let's get to it then. I'll start knocking on doors north of Wraithways, since you did that back in Fandolin. Matter of fact, got this name from a grocer across the way there. A fellow might be useful. Perhaps you should pay him a visit." What Sanson's referring to is your guys' method of searching a town when you arrive there.
Yeah.
He hands you a small sliver of parchment, like it was ripped off of a kind of an old frayed page, and on it just says Krellin of Old Roads Acquisitions, along with an address, 12 Merchants Bane Lane.
Is this the one I'm supposed to go for?
I hear he'll help. A lot of people go missing in this town apparently, and he's one that does his best to find them. So, if she's here, he's our best bet, I assume. At least a good place to start. I'm just gonna go knock on a few doors, see if anybody's seen her. And he kind of pulls out a notebook, and he's got a very nice sketch that you guys had made of Evelyn, as well as he's got like a list of a bunch of like shop names at what looks like.
Just remember, be careful. You're not as large as me, so...
I know, but I'm very nimble, you know. Anyway, meet me back here at sundown, eh? No need to waste a day, but might as well not overwork ourselves. Ta-da! And he, like...
Does the sun come up here?
Oh, it's up, believe it or not. It certainly goes down. Anywho...
Alright.
He kind of scurries off through the crowd, out the door.
Okay.
Yeah.
Going to just, stand up, kind of satisfied.
Mm-hmm.
And, give a nod to the, barmaid and just walk out.
Okay.
Not going to bring my backpack, but definitely bringing my weapon.
Yeah, definitely bring the weapon, I figured. Okay, so you leave the owl. Having asked for directions, you know that to get to Old Road's Acquisitions, you need to take a right out of the door, travel along the river for 2 blocks, take another right, walk 3 blocks, take a left for 1 block, and then the store will be second building on your right. And so you begin to walk towards your destination, and in the process, you get a better look at the river that runs through the city. You are walking along it. You come out of the owl, which is facing the river. There are no buildings between it and the river, apart from a small, a larger, maybe like a wider road with a green, and then a drop off into the river. So you get a better look at the river that runs through the city. It's very wide. At this time, it's pretty calmly flowing, although there definitely is a current. There are 2 large bridges that run across it, each with various buildings and shops atop them. There's definitely no wasted space in this city, if you couldn't infer from, like, the slums.
Yep.
Yeah, so across the river...
How does the water look?
Very murky. It's not swamp water, it's flowing, but it's, along the edges there's, like, maybe a little bit of foam and gunk, some branches, but the water itself is not, like, the healthiest looking water. Definitely medieval city water.
So it's not necessarily pleasant looking at it?
I guess it depends on the day, but not at the moment.
Not at the moment,
no.
Okay.
Although the sound isn't bad, it definitely sounds like a flowing river, so if you were to close your eyes and plug your nose, it would maybe be calming. Be kind of calming, I suppose. Yeah, but so, across the river, you see another wall, not quite as tall as the outer wall, but impressively imposing nonetheless. Behind it, you can make out several larger buildings, much nicer in quality than the ones you've seen in the city. They look official, somewhat clean, based on the very little that you can see peeking over the wall. At the end of each bridge is a large closed gate, which you can kind of make as you pass by the entrance to the bridges. You can see there appears to be no admittance beyond the mysterious inner wall. The gates are closed, and guards stand, or guards, quote-unquote, those black leather wearing guys, you can see stand at each of the gates. Apart from getting a better look at this side of the city, you really only see more of the same on your way to the shop. Bent-over buildings, beggars, businesses. Although you do see several more of those people wearing the black leather armor. They stare at you differently than the rest of the city's occupants. They're definitely keeping an eye on you, you think. Yeah.
Okay.
Excuse me. So
I am keeping an eye on them too, because I was told they weren't good.
Very smart. So they kind of catch you looking back at them, and they don't like avert their eyes necessarily. Some of them are very standoffish from what you can tell, and they kind of stare you down, but some of them flip their eyes away and continue doing what they were doing. So you walk for about a minute more, and you arrive at your destination. A sign hangs above the door of the wooden and stone building that reads Old Roads Acquisitions, and the door is halfway open.
I'm just gonna push my way in.
Okay, so you push your way in. The door, kind of squeaks a little bit. You enter into a waiting room of sorts, where there are various kind of chairs placed around the room. Across from you, there's a hallway, where halfway down on the left, you can see another open door, this time with candlelight pouring out of it. Several papers have been scattered around the hallway around this door, and from inside, you hear disgruntled shuffling.
Papers scattered in a suspicious way?
They weren't placed there. There are kind of scatters, like maybe blown or thrown out of the door that's open with the candlelight pouring out of it. There's no one else in the building, in the waiting room, that you can see. Except for disgruntled shuffling in the office. Down in the hallway.
I'm going to try to... Nah. I'm just gonna go, hello?
Um, you hear someone like something slap down on a desk and shuffling, and a man, before he sticks his head out of the room, just goes, "For God's sake, what do you want now?" And he sticks his head out, and he just goes, "Oh, my apologies, mister. What can I do for you?"
Yes, I'm looking for a, what's his name again? I didn't write it down.
Who? Krellin.
Uh,
Krellin.
Krellin?
Krellin of Old Roads. Old Roads Acquisitions. Yeah, it's on the sliver, so I'm sure you could just look at the sliver.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you wish to spell that, that's Krellin.
L-L-I-N. Alright. I'm looking for a Krellin.
Yep, that's me. What can I do you for?
I'm looking for someone.
Well,
Someone who has gone missing.
I'd like to say you've come to the right place. Here, I tell you what, come here. And he kind of like goes back into his office.
I follow, duck
Okay.
under the door.
Yeah, so you kind of push it open a little bit. It's an office for sure desk. There are papers scattered all over the floor, on the desk. Certain things knocked over. There's a chair knocked over, which, not behind the desk, but like in front of the desk, I guess. And he kind of
Okay.
walks back behind the desk and gets down on his knees with a bit of a grunt and just starts picking up papers and like slapping them onto the desk. Um, do you have a description?
Would you like some help?
No, I wouldn't ask you to, man. Thanks, though. Um,
Alright, well, the, do I have a picture of her? Or...
yeah, sure. I'd say you probably would have one that you carry with you,
Okay.
since Sanson has one as well.
This is she. And I hand him the, her name is Evelyn.
Hmm. He takes it, he stands up and kind of slaps a pile of papers down on the desk, and and he takes it and looks at her, and he's looking at it while you're talking to him. I tell you what, man. Truthfully, I don't really know what to tell you. I suppose. I'm not long for leaving this town, anyways. I look for people. It's my job. But truth be told, even if you find people in this town, they don't last very long. And if you pick up a trail, sometimes it gets snuffed out. It's like there's forces working against you. The guild doesn't do anything to help with it. Hell, they take most of the people that go missing in this goddamn
The
place.
guild?
Yeah, the guild. It's the Thieves Guild. They run the place. Have for a few years now. It's those guys you've seen. Dark leather armor, I'm sure.
Those are thieves?
Oh, not really anymore. Not for the past few years. More like police now. They make a mockery of order. Steal what they can, unfortunately for us. Problem is they're in charge, so they can get away with it. Did this to me just now. I was looking for a lady's son went missing not too long ago, and I must have caught on to something, because they came in here and trashed my place not moments before you walked through that door.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm probably not gonna be hanging around here much longer. I got one job. That's to find people. The only people here to find are either monsters or they're dead. If not physically, then spiritually. This town kills people. You see, saps their strength, their souls, cuts them to the bone, swallows them whole, spits them out, right back out onto the street. And if she's here, she's probably dead. And for that, I'm sorry. He just looks really, really sad, actually. Like he's just so hopeless.
I've already been searching for one friend who wound up dead. I would very much like this one not to be the case.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, I don't think, there's a lot I can do to help you, unfortunately. But it might be a long shot, but, just earlier today, actually, a guild member, no one's seen for close to a year now, just walked out of an alleyway a few blocks down from here. Um, that is not a common occurrence here. You see, people go missing, they stay missing. That's the problem. This
That's
guy,
what I gather.
yeah, he just walked out of an alleyway. I mean, he's been missing a year. Nobody's seen him. And here he is. A friend of mine took him over to Mother Monarch's apothecary. Said he wasn't talking no sense. It's not far from here, actually, just a block over. Go there, tell Mother I sent you, and tell her what you're doing here. She's sympathetic to causes like yours.
All right. Thank you for the information.
Yeah, man. I hope you find her. I do, but I wouldn't hold on to hope.
I will not let go of hope.
Well,
for I've actually heard that she may be alive and in the area.
Well then, I guess all I can do is wish you luck, and good luck. And he kind of just keeps looking around the room.
And you too.
Yeah, thank you. Probably gonna need it for the end of this.
Yes. Maybe someone needs to do something about them.
They've tried.
I'm just gonna walk out.
Yeah. Maybe you could. Just saying. Never mind. Don't. It's a bad idea. It's a real bad idea. Don't listen to anything.
Fuck, that's a bad idea.
It's a bad idea. Don't do that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So are you gonna look for that shop? Excuse me.
Yes.
Okay. So he stated it's just a few blocks away, and it really is just kind of across the street and down to the right. You find her shop, Mother Monarch's Apothecary, just a block over from Krellin's shop. Its exterior is made primarily out of wood. The front door is adorned with various vines and greenery. In fact, the entire front of the first floor of this store is just kind of, it's definitely like a earthly apothecary.
Okay. And what was it called again?
Mother Monarch's Apothecary.
Mother Monarchs. Okay. I'm gonna walk in. See what I can see.
Okay. Trying to pull something up real quick. It's just not loading, much to my dismay. I must have sent that in this chat. Looking for a message someone sent quite a ways ago, it seems. Which has a certain stat. Do you remember what chat Mark sent the stat blocks for some of those creatures in?
No.
Whatever that thing that kickstarted, like the... Where the hell was it? He didn't send it to just me. Maybe to Seligo.
I don't remember it at all.
Maybe it was just me then, but that wouldn't make sense because it's not in our chat. It's Minecraft pictures. Oh, Facebook. It was on Facebook Messenger. I'm an idiot. Anyways, so you do duck through this doorway. And you rise to see a very homely room. Vibrantly painted walls, various plants hanging from the ceiling and mounted on the walls. In the corner to your diagonal right, an elderly woman is placing bottles filled with various colored liquids on a shelf, humming a happy little tune.
Hello.
Oh, hello.
Are you Mother Monarch?
I am. What can I do you for?
Why does everyone in the town say that? I'm looking for someone.
I see.
Almost a family member to me. I was told by Krellin to come here.
Good lad he is.
To ask you about someone who has been missing for a year, walking out of an alley.
Oh, that would probably be, what's his name? I don't remember his name, honestly. He's a Thieves Guild member, yes? Appeared about a year ago. Talking gibberish. Friend of Krellin's brought him into my shop. Just this morning, actually.
Is he still here?
He is. I suppose you want to see him. Do you think he'll help you find whoever it is you're missing, or?
It's worth a shot.
I suppose I have a soft spot in my heart for people who have missing folk. Sure then, follow me, if you think it'll help. She kind of, brushes some dirt off of her apron, kind of like a nice, just imagine like a nice, like, portly old lady, just very homely, a grandmom, essentially, just shuffles over to a stairwell on the back wall. Do you follow?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so they lead up, stairwell on the back, pardon me. There's a stairwell on the back wall of the shop, leads up to a short hallway, on the right of which 2 doors reside. She leads you to the one furthest down the hall, unlocks it, and holds it open for you.
Going to look in and then walk in.
Okay. You see 3 single beds against the right wall. All of them are empty except for the last one, in which lays what looks like a half-elf, stripped of most of his clothing. He's kind of wearing like a tunic, I suppose. He's not moving, but he is burning holes in the ceiling with like this crazed gaze. As you enter, she goes,
He's not exactly well. I'll go easy on him, try not to get him riled up. Otherwise, I'll have to go give another prick of the old thorn tooth. Nobody wants that. Anywho...
She walks back down the hallway, down the stairs, out of sight.
I'm going to walk up right next to the bed.
Okay.
Looking down at him.
He is like... There are giant spiders on the ceiling. There is something. He is staring at the ceiling like it's about to stab him. Like he is just... He's restrained, for the most part, kind of loosely with rope. Various strings and cloth, bed sheets, anything. Something different for each appendage that's tied down. And he's just looking at the ceiling.
I'm going to look up at the ceiling too and just look at it for a little bit. And look down at him.
It's a very old ceiling of wood. And yeah, no, he's looking at the ceiling.
Look back up and look back down. Hi.
He's just muttering something under his breath very, very loosely. His lips are hardly moving, but he does nothing in response to your greeting.
Hold on, Yanni. Hello?
Nothing, same thing. Just kind of whispering nothings.
Gonna poke him, like, right in the side of the ribs.
He
Hello?
hardly even flinches at it. Like, he barely moves. You just poke him, and he's just looking at the ceiling. Shaking. He's kind of sweating a little bit. It's a damp tunic that you poke.
Gonna wave my hand in front of his eyes.
They don't do anything.
Just gonna start poking him and shoving him like, hello? Need you to answer.
He
shove.
You see his pupils kind of like, his eyes kind of like come to life as if, when like someone's distracted and they're staring into mental space and they come back to. They don't necessarily move their eyes, but you can tell that they have refocused, like their pupils dilate slightly. That happens, and his eyes dart around a little bit, not really landing on anything particular, not necessarily landing on you, but you can tell there's a little more in him, I suppose.
Yes, hello, I am, I'm sorry, what was that?
He's just the same thing, just kind of eyes darting around now, and
I'm
under his breath.
I'm looking for Evelyn.
His eyes lock onto yours.
Ah, you've heard of
Lock
her.
onto yours, and I just have like a piercing eye contact. Like if there's like a soul that's visible within you, he's looking at it. Just like, I mean, horror movie. Like there's a sting if this had sound effects. Like like he's just like staring at you, and his body he tenses entirely up, straining all of the restraints that hold him to the bed. And he just says, "White feathers, broken glass, shattered pieces." He tries to grab at you with one of the arms, his left arm, the one closest to you, which is restrained. And he just a seriousness overcomes him. He says, "It's here. It's already here. It's already here." And he just keeps screaming. He starts just screaming that at the top of his lungs. Yeah, and eventually. Did you slap him? What was that? Yeah. You slap him and he just like recoils and starts just screaming. He's looking back at the ceiling now, screaming that, and Mother Monarch runs back into the room with like a large, like a carpet bag.
She runs in with my hand raised to knock him out.
Mm-hmm. She's like, "Don't you dare!" And she runs up to the bed and like pounds down a huge bag, leather bag, and opens it. And she starts like sifting through it. What did I say?
Sure, this would be faster.
No, I said don't get him riled up. What have you done?
And she pulls out like a small needle, like a natural needle of sorts, some sort of thorn. She dunks it in a vial of like a little cup of some sort of viscous liquid, and then like jabs him in the neck, very quickly and concisely. Not like inserting it, but just like a shiv, almost like, beep, and just pulling it back. A very precise movement. Instantly, he stops shouting. He stops moving, and he continues to stare at the ceiling.
Look, all I did was mention Evelyn. And he freaked out.
I can see that, yes. Did he give you anything you can use, or just...
I don't know.
Okay. If it's any use to you, he hasn't had a reaction like that since we brought him in.
Do feathers shatter already here? Does that mean anything to you?
No, not unless... No, it doesn't, actually.
Unless?
Unless he's been at the owl for a long time. You know, that bird there, it's a nuisance. But,
Oh.
broken glass,
yes, it tried to steal my food.
Yeah, it does that. Actually, it's a house rule, if it steals your food, you have to down your drink. Pay for everyone else's. If it doesn't get your food, they down their drinks, and they don't get any free beer, so...
I see.
Yes. Shattered glass? Feathers? No, I don't. I mean, glass gets broken round here all the time, so... it could mean anything, really. As opposed to it being already here, it could be a lot of things. A lot of people are here. The Thieves Guild's here. I don't know. What?
Yes, so what is the Thieves Guild?
Well, it's exactly that. It was a guild. It was a Thieves Guild before. Then the requisition happened, and, well, they took control over the city. Now they rule. The leader, his name is Ed Oddstone. That's the guy. He rules this place like some sort of fat king. I mean, really cunning, that guy, though. He's been here forever. But they rule. They take what they want, give nothing back. Cruel people, most of them. They take a lot of people who wish not to live that life. They took my child. And she puts her hand over her mouth and is fighting tears.
That is why you are sympathetic.
Amongst other things, yes.
She
Is he alive?
She struggles to make eye contact with you, and kind of just you can tell maybe she's looking for words. She opens her mouth and she just kind of quickly like, I tell you what, lad, it's getting late. Perhaps you should go.
Right. Well, I'll say it seems like if anybody was to know where Evelyn is, it seems to be this Thieves Guild would know.
Yes, that's
Now,
the problem. They take a lot of people here.
yes,
Kill them or turn them, sir. It's but
so I hear.
I invite you not to push any further than you need to with them, because they... If you've stumbled onto something here, it could be greatly dangerous for you.
Yes, well, if I find they took my Evelyn, then it will be greatly dangerous for them.
I hope so. I hope so. And she kind of walks out of the room.
I am going to leave.
Okay. So you can kind of see out the window as you turn to leave. It's starting to get dark out.
On second thought, I'm gonna see if he has anything on him.
Okay. He doesn't have. He's really just wearing like almost like a whatever the medieval version of like a hospital gown is, just like a very basic tunic. He's been
Okay.
stripped of all his clothes, all his armor. But in the corner next to his bed, you do see a pile of things, armor. If you wish to investigate, I could tell you further.
Yeah, gonna look through that.
Okay, investigation.
Okay.
I suppose maybe perception. I will let you argue that, if you wish.
Give me a second. Let's see. Let's do a. Can I do a perception?
Yes, actually,
Because,
thinking about it, I'll let you do a perception to see what there is, and then I'll have you do an investigation to
Okay.
determine what you find.
Okay.
So,
14.
14,
With
yeah. So
perception.
that pretty easily gets it. You see armor, the same type of armor that all the other people were wearing: leather pauldrons, leather chest piece, thigh armor, shin guards. Gauntlets, stuff like that. Just a nice set of leather armor. I say nice, not a nice set of leather armor, but leather armor nonetheless. Got that sigil on it. Excuse me. Under which a bag. It seems like the armor is piled atop some sort of loose, kind of like rucksack bag.
Yeah, definitely looking in there.
Okay. On the exterior, well, I guess go ahead and roll me that investigation.
Yeah.
You got this, Thogak. You can do it.
You're right. I rolled a 2,
Oh, fuck.
which means I have a 0.
Zero! Oh, no! It's a bag. It's a bag. Looks like it's seen
Alright.
better days. It's got holes and tears in it. Inside of it, not much Thieves Guild stuff. Some rope, which has been cut, various lengths, a dagger, some rations. Nothing much, really.
Yeah, not really expecting to find much. Just kind of
Just see if there's
searching.
anything. That was quite a reaction, so obviously something is, yeah.
Going to, what piece has the, sigil on it?
It is on the pauldrons, and on the pauldron for the right shoulder, and on the chest piece in the middle of the chest piece.
I'm just gonna take the pauldron for the right shoulder.
Okay, it's really basic. If you want to imagine a shape, it's kind of like an archway. So it's got like a kind of a slightly rounded bottom, then it has flat sides, and then it goes to a point at the top. It's less of a
Yeah.
pauldron, more like it just straps onto the top of the bicep, right at the shoulder.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's got that sigil on there. Let me see if I have that anywhere that I can send to you. Maybe after the session, because I know I'm gonna have to look for that. I'll
Yeah.
send you a picture of that. Okay, and you leave, you said?
Yeah, and then with that, I leave while discreetly carrying the pauldron.
Okay.
Don't want to make it too obvious.
I'm sure. I mean, you've got such a big hand. I'm sure you could probably fold this thing up and palm it, and it would look like you're not holding anything really if you just got a kind of a clenched
Okay.
fist. So, if that's your goal. Um,
Yeah.
so you. Oh God, I lost my place. Yeah. So you can see outside that it's getting dark. From the windows. So you walk back down the hallway and down the stairs, and as you come to the bottom of the stairs, you see a man in dark leather armor, leaning with his arms crossed, his back against the wall, to both the left and the right sides of the room, doing various things, looking on shelves and stuff, picking through bottles of liquid, whatever. There are two other dark armor-clad men looking passively at various plants and shelves.
Just going to nod
Mm-hmm.
nod to them and walk out.
They definitely look at you as you come down the stairs and look at each other, and the one kind of standing by the door kind of like parts, and motions, kind of like a out the door not like an out, like get out the door, but kind of like, does his hand down and out, like a after you kind of deal, very nothing derogative, I guess, but just kind of,
Okay.
yeah.
Definitely have my hand on my coin purse as I pass him.
Yep. Yeah. Okay, so as you leave, you kind of hear Mother come out, and she's like, "Oh, hey lads, what can I do for you?" And they just mumbling as you exit the room. So you head back to the Owl, the way that you came, and you can already tell that a new crowd occupies the streets, much more scarcely than the day crowd. There are a lot less people on the streets in general. The sun is just starting to set behind the dense cloud cover. It's kind of at that stage where like it's shining under the clouds because of where it is, but you still can't quite see it, but you can kind of see the sun on the undersides of the clouds. It's setting.
Okay.
It's about to fully set. So you make it back to the Owl. You enter, not having to dodge any rogue mugs this time, thank God. In fact, the tavern has calmed quite a bit, and what people are left are in a much tamer mood than the day crowd. Several employees, varying races, are kind of rushing around, cleaning tables and mopping floors. Rhiannon herself is the maiden, the barmaid, is wiping down the bar. You can kind of tell maybe they're preparing for like a second wave of night crowd, which is it to hit, but there are a few bars at the patron. That's not right. There's a few patrons at the bar, like maybe two or three scattered about, either standing or sitting. Sanson is not among them, but
Just
it's
gonna
not
sit
night
and
yet.
wait.
Yeah, it's not nighttime
Yeah.
yet, so it's not rendezvous time yet. So you wait. Rhiannon, do you want to order a drink or anything?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll just get a cheap one.
Okay, that is going to be
Cheap ale.
4 copper.
4 copper.
4 copper
Okay.
for the lad.
Yes. Okay, yeah, so you just kind of sit, sipping your ale. How long would you like to wait?
Alright. Until it is quite obviously past the time.
Yeah, okay. So, it's about 30 minutes until it's completely night outside. And you notice Rhiannon's kind of keeping an eye on you, talking to other patrons, but paying attention to you. She is watching the door as well. And you wait about an hour past nightfall, and you wait and wait and wait, until eventually Rhiannon does come over to you. Um, not worried per se, but definitely like she's been watching, and she says, you seem a lot more capable than your friend, and I don't want to alarm you, but this is not the place you'd want to stay out after dark if business doesn't call for it. Um,
You got it.
yeah.
Which way did he go? Do you know?
Yeah, no, he said he was going on the north side of Wraithway, so... And she kind of like leans around you and points at the door and goes, okay, so take a left out of the door, go straight for a block, take a left, and then any building on the right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
And I am definitely going to loosen the straps on my weapons.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just in case.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of like roll my shoulders. And, actually, going to go upstairs, to my room, leave any unnecessaries like money there.
Okay.
Kind of hide it under the mattress.
Yeah, it's probably a smart idea. A very smart idea.
And like thinking if there's anything else I would like to leave. Yeah, I have my leatherworker's kit and everything inside my backpack, which I'm leaving. Going to bring my tinderbox and torch, just in case.
Do what now, sorry?
I'm gonna bring a tinderbox and torch.
Okay, tinderbox and a torch. Not a bad idea. Okay. From what you can tell, these streets are being lit at dusk, which you were kind of witnessing happen. There were a few shop people lighting lanterns outside of their shops and whatnot. So the streets are lit.
But there were plenty of dark alleys during the day.
There are plenty of dark alleys during the day, and you can bet your sweet Goliath ass there's gonna be darker alleys at night.
Alright. I am definitely making my way over full Goliath stride, following the directions I was given.
Okay.
Keeping my eye out, trying to peer down the alleys if I can see at all, to see if I see a little gnome body.
In alleyways, you say?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so, basically, you know from what he told you earlier, he was going to knock on doors north of Wraithway, as Rhiannon reminded you. So you check along those few blocks first, which is Wraithway is the street you came in on. It's the one that you can basically stand at the end of it and look all the way down towards the slums. It's a street that runs diagonal through the entire
main
city.
street?
Yes,
or...
it is a very long main street. And yeah, so you kind of knock on a few doors and nobody really answers. You can tell people are kind of bedding down and stuff. Sorry, I'm reading through something real quick.
I do have the pauldron with me, by the way.
Yeah. Where are you keeping it on your person?
Tucked into my belt, like hidden as to what exactly it is.
Yeah, that's probably smart.
But...
because Rhiannon definitely had a point. From what you can tell, the only people out are like monstrous races, human. Like you see kobolds kind of skittering about across the street every now and then on down the street from you. Maybe some goblins, like races that probably don't want to find themselves out in the day, lest they be murdered brutally by people who don't like them. Or you see several of mostly, the majority of the people you see, be them few, are those people clad in dark leather armor. So you probably would think it wise not to show them that you have a piece of that. Can you give me a perception check?
Of course. Accidentally gave a performance check, so let's not do that. 19.
What was it?
19.
That meets. Perfect. You're definitely being followed. Several members of the guild, they kind of walk a ways behind you. You're kind of walking slowly down the street, um, and you hear footsteps, and so you kind of turn your head and you just see if people dart into an alleyway. Maybe not even dart, just kind of like as they know that you see them, they just kind of like stroll out of your sight casually.
Hmm.
Yeah. But you're definitely being followed by some of the people in that armor.
Um, do I get like a feeling of why they're following me, other than like, do I see anybody following anybody else?
Not necessarily. There's
Okay.
not many people out to be followed, and you definitely stand out like a sore thumb right now because you were not amidst a crowd. Um, but no, you don't. If you do see ones that aren't following you, they're kind of like perched against a wall or maybe down an alley talking to each other. Shady stuff.
Are there any alleys that like seem like do I pass any alleys that are like they seem clear? Like I
Um,
don't see anything
Oh
down
yeah,
them.
a good few of them. There are alleys every like 3 or 4 buildings. I mean, the city is comprised of dark alleyways.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of them, nothing seems to be happening apart from rats or just like a kobold going through a trash pile. I mean, like not a lot is going on in a lot of them, but every now and then you'll catch a meeting. Someone will see you from an alley and kind of like turn and walk out of sight. Um, Shady dealings.
After a bit of them following me, how far do they seem to be from me?
Probably a good. I mean, they're keeping a good distance, so probably like a block at most. We'll say 100,
Okay.
150 feet, maybe.
I'm going to look around to see if anybody's looking at me, and then move into one of those clear alleyways
Okay.
and move just a few steps. Um,
Um. So what would probably be best? You've noticed that they dart into an alleyway every time you turn to look.
mhm.
So what would probably be best for you is if you like gave them a good line of sight to where they left your line of sight, and that would give you about what you could figure is like 10 seconds maybe to kind of dart into an alleyway, get out of their line of sight. So
Okay.
roll me a
Yeah.
stealth. Are you trying to be stealthy? Are you trying to kind of evade their um, grasp? I suppose their sight.
There's there's a lot of these guys around, right?
Um, get following you. I'd say there's two consistently, if not one. From what you can tell, maybe there's two that are kind of trading it off. Um,
Before I like dart into this alley, do I see like others around?
Not paying you any mind. Um, if you do actually see them, they kind of quickly just kind of like ugh, and make it to where you don't, but
Okay.
not in a way that's like I don't want him to see me. It's just like I don't want to be seen in general. So yeah.
How far would I have to go to get to the end of this alleyway?
Okay, so this alleyway is sort of like a zigzag. Um,
Hmm.
Actually, let me open my Blackbriar map and determine the alleyway that you're in, because I think I know where it is. Okay, yeah. So this alleyway particularly, you're at the base of kind of what looks like maybe like a housing building. Um, are you first off, are you darting to your left or your right?
Um, I assume I'm walking with the houses he was checking on my right. Am
Yes.
I correct?
Yeah, you're walking down
Darting
Wraithway.
to the right.
By this point, you might have turned off of Wraithway, actually,
Oh, okay.
and headed
Okay.
back maybe because you would have reached. You would have gone far enough probably to circle back. So he was searching north of Wraithway, so you might have started to try the block north of Wraithway.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm going to dart into the right.
Okay.
To the right, I think.
All right. Yeah. So it's kind of like a zigzag alleyway. Um, and yeah, I mean, if you're trying to walk to the end of it, you do successfully. It's very dark, but Still, there is actually, but unlike during the daytime, at the nighttime here, every now and then the clouds do part slightly for the moon, giving you kind of a very harsh moonlight, for just a brief few moments, um, before kind
Okay.
of retreating back behind the clouds. So that lights your way occasionally. Um,
Um, I am going to, let's see. I think I'm going to just kind of hide where I can.
okay.
Definitely take out my great axe
Okay.
and just kind of hide, but make sure I am ready.
All right. And where are you hiding?
Is there anything I can hide behind?
Yeah, occasionally. In this alleyway, probably the best thing is like a very rickety fire escape sort of stairs that wind up the building. You can kind of scoot underneath the stairs and be relatively obstructed. In addition to the darkness, because you are basically in complete darkness right now,
Mm-hmm.
minus the light coming from the streets, which kind of illuminates the entrances to the alleyway. Give me stuff.
Okay. I am not good at these. Oh, I'm not too bad at
No,
them,
you're not too
actually.
bad at these, dude. What the
But I
hell?
did horribly with a 5.
So 7, 8, 8.
No, no, 5 in total.
Oh, 5 in total. Yikes. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let me. Okay. Okay. So, you see one of the Thieves Guild members. You're kind of like peeking around the steps a little bit, or maybe even looking through them. And your skin helps, right? Because you're this very gray tone kind of. Even your beard is like
Mm-hmm.
gray, dark, kind of like wolf-like hair, in line with your totem animal, which is a wolf.
Mm-hmm.
And so you do blend in quite well, actually, and you are aware of this. Like you probably couldn't see your hand if you held it out in front of you. And you see one of the two um, members walk kind of across the alleyway and kind of like peer in for a second, and then just keep walking.
Okay. Going to wait there for a few seconds just to make sure he doesn't double back,
Mm-hmm. He doesn't.
and then slowly make my way out
Okay.
again.
So you make your
And
way. Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead.
definitely peeking,
Okay.
just to make sure.
Entirely uncharacteristically, you see nothing on the street.
Well, now I'm definitely ready.
So what do you do?
Um,
I will say you've been searching at from when you left the owl until now. It's been about an hour.
only thing I can do is keep on walking.
Okay. So you
Um,
yeah.
do have my weapon kind of at the ready. Um, still not used to behaving in cities and stuff,
Mhm.
so definitely still wielding it like I'm out in the wild.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah. And there aren't many.
and
Right now. There isn't anybody to see you that you can see, wielding it.
yeah,
So.
definitely keeping my eyes out, not peering too closely at any particular shadows. Just
Mhm.
kind of.
Kind of keeping on the move.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you walk cautiously, very cautiously.
Yeah.
And I'd imagine maybe, even at this point, it's just kind of like, God, maybe he got lost. Maybe he's back at the owl. Like, this isn't the best situation to be in. So you're kind of walking, you're
Mm-hmm.
thinking about what to do. You are surprised by a sudden ringing in your ears, sort of like when they pop after coming down from a high altitude. You know, just that kind of like Just very like sudden, not uncomfortable, but it's almost like you're made aware. It's like, oh, my ears are ringing. Yeah.
Going to stop and take a few steps back, and does it continue?
Yes. Does not grow or anything. It just continues. You do begin to see down the street, kind of illuminated by a lamplight, as he passes. Hold up. Actually, let me think about that. Yeah. Okay. So you do see what looks like down the street a good ways, probably like a full block and a half away from you, walking towards you, um, a man walking in your direction, um, wearing a odd contraption around his waist, kind of like maybe like a some sort of drum. He stops in his tracks and looks directly at you, frozen solid.
I'm stopped as well.
Okay. He takes a few slow steps forward, and he appears to be speaking. You don't know what he's saying. It's like he's talking to someone as he's walking forwards, but just a few words muttered at a normal volume, but you can't make out what they are. It
I'm
does
just
also
gonna
appear like he might be looking at
wait.
something that's not you, but is in your direction.
Hmm. Am I in the light?
You're between lights right now, so if anything, he sees your
I'm gonna look
silhouette.
behind me.
Yeah. Nothing. You don't see anything except for the city street, of course. No,
Do I
no
see
angels.
anything in front of me?
Just him.
Hmm. I'm going to turn a little so my back is like to the wall,
Mm-hmm.
and just gonna wait and watch.
Okay. He walks a few steps forward, and then his head snaps to his right. Um, I'm sorry, I was trying to decide if that might be a perception check, but no, I don't think it will be. He's looking down what looks to be the entrance to an alleyway on his right. Um, his attention, he's not quite at it, but he's looking ahead of himself slightly to the right at the alleyway. Um, and right around when his head snaps to the right, you hear something quite unsettling, kind of like the sounds of some sort of muffled scream, just like a, and then followed by a, please help me! He turns and
Coming
runs into
from
the
the
alleyway.
alley?
Yes, coming to the alleyway. He turns and runs into the alleyway.
I'm booking it that way too.
Okay, the voice did sound familiar.
Mm-hmm.
So, you run towards the alleyway, which is about 150 feet from you, and you close that distance pretty quickly with your stride. Just the sounds of heavy sandals impacting mud. Yeah.
Yep.
And so you arrive at the alleyway, and you turn the corner to see a few things. Firstly, a man, the man that turned and ran down the alleyway, standing about 10 feet in front of you. He is clad in darker colors, black hair, does appear to be some sort of drum symbols on it, standing in front of you. And this is all happening like in a split second, right? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, you see a small body laying on its side about 30 feet down the alleyway from you, covered in blood. Thirdly, you see two humanoids standing above the body, one holding a bloody dagger, the other with a look of horror on his face. Both of them are wearing dark leather armor, with that familiar sigil on their chest. The man in front of you appears to cast something at the body to no avail. Before then casting something on one of the two men. This is like as you're turning the corner, I imagine you see him like raise an arm, he points with a drumstick, what looks like, and the one holding the sword drops the sword and like tenses up like he's being restrained by something. And the one next to him seems very, very, very uncomfortable. Like he's about to run.
The one on the ground. How familiar?
Give me a perception check. It is in a dark alleyway. quite a dark alleyway.
Yeah, quite a dark alleyway. Perception.
This man is glowing, by the way, in front of you. He has a one of the symbols on his thing is like lit, like a light, and it is illuminating about 20 feet from him. Right at the edge of that is the body and the two men. So that would be in normal light, I guess. So I don't think any disadvantage.
12.
Okay. It there's blood, a lot of blood. It appears to be an aged gnome. You cannot see his face.
And Sanzin was aged.
And a gnome.
And a gnome.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen lots of gnomes, have I?
Not a lot of them. Munch was a halfling. You've seen a few gnomes scattered here and there, mostly at the docks. There was one piloting a boat when you passed through.
And that other one, he dropped his sword and he seems to be restrained, right?
Yeah. Do you remember? This is a stretch, but I don't know why this is popping into mind. In Infinity War, when Thanos like constricts Rhodey's armor, the War Machine, you know, like right at the end, he kind of did that. Like he just like tensed up, like something was constraining him, and he has this look of pain on his face and horror. And yes, he dropped his sword at his feet. It stuck into the mud at his feet.
Then I am going to charge at the other man in the dark armor because they have already been pinned as my enemies.
I think what you mean to say is you're going to charge at the enemy in the dark armor at the start of the next session.
Yep,
because this is where we're going to end your solo session, Thogak.
That's awesome.
Yes. So, thus ends The Measure of a Man.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, what'd you think? two hours
awesome.
and 11 minutes.
It was really, really immersive.
Thank you. That's definitely what I was striving for.
Really, really made me feel like I was in the dark, gloomy
that's perfect.
town.
That's
and
exactly what I wanted to do, so that's great.
Definitely felt that feeling of like that crawling on the back of your neck where like someone's watching you or following you.
Yeah.
And like I gotta get this to stop. And
yeah.
then loved the homebrew.
Yeah, I know. I was very happy when I came up with that idea. I was like, oh, this would be great.
Love the description of the location.
Oh, thank you.
And yeah, I just loved it all.
Well, excellent. That's as much as I could have hoped for. Yeah, I'm excited to I'm excited to see how this begins. Like I'm ready for the first session with all of you because it's like so far it's fallen into place rather well. So that's good. Very good. Yeah. Really, the only one that might not line up with where I want to start is Keegan. So that's why I did his last, so I could see where Mark ends up, where you end up, and lastly where Keegan ends up. I'm definitely excited to get started. We're probably gonna get started on Tuesday. Does that day still work for you? Probably. Normal time, 8 DM standard, unless you think you can swing 7 DM standard. Because starting early would never be a bad idea.
Right at 5? Or no, wait, that's
6,
right at 6 at my time.
Yeah, 6 your time.
Yeah, I can do 6.
Okay, I might go for that then, because
6 would be preferable for me.
Nicer to start early, especially on like a work week.
When there's daytime.
Yeah, and if this does run into when I start school back, that would be easier for me probably. Get it done with earlier because Wednesdays are going to be early mornings for me. But yes, I'm glad you enjoyed it.
That was epic.
Any notes further than that or anything?
Let's see. No, I just loved him, man.
Well, that's great. That's the best I could have hoped for. That's amazing.
Um,
You finally laid eyes on the picture. That took me
yeah,
like 6 days
yeah.
to draw.
I've
Oh my
seen
God.
bits and pieces of it.
Yep, there's three buildings. That slight group right there next to the owl. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm definitely proud I have it. Don't want to do it again. Was gonna draw one basically looking at the city from the front gate where you entered, but this one took way
Decided,
longer.
fuck that.
Way longer, and I might still, but I doubt it. Yeah.
All right.
I'm surprised at the information you got on this city. I figured Mark's thing in his solo session would be kind of like, what's the deal with the city, and yours would be basically what happened, mostly Thieves Guild stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but is there intrigue at all? Like, that's really the thing I'm worried about the most, is like intrigue, especially with the
Intrigue?
mystery.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like what, I don't want to give out
Yeah,
too many
with-
answers, but at the same time I've got to
You've
make.
got me writing things down
Oh,
so
that's
I can
very
look
good.
back at them.
That's very good. I swore last night to myself after Mark's session that not every character could have the accent that Sanzin and I guess Mother kind of had it. I tried to make her sound a little more womanly and elderly, but I caught myself last night with Mark doing like the same accent. He had like a boat driver, and he met Munch, and like all these people. I was just like, I need to stop doing this accent because it's the same fucking thing. So that's one thing that surprised me, is like, oh shit, this character needs an accent. Oh, hello there, laddie. I'm like, shit.
That was one already.
I'm like, I already did that for like
That's how I
3
feel
characters.
with mine too.
Yeah, so I'd kind of pin Rhiannon's accent. That being said, switching between like Sanzin's accent to like the kind of Australian I'm going for Rhiannon is like the hardest fucking thing. Because I keep wanting to do the same accent for her. I'm like, no, what is her accent? It's like Kith, but higher
When
pitched.
is Keegan's solo session gonna happen?
Hopefully Saturday. Depending on what
Hopefully
happens
Saturday.
with his campaign. I mean, I could do it tomorrow, but if we have his session, then his campaign, then I won't. But I mean, hopefully Saturday. But we should. I mean, it's gonna be Saturday or early Sunday, which I doubt will happen, or Monday. But the goal is to start the actual session one
On
on
Tuesday.
Tuesday. Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome.
I'm excited.
I
How does
am
it feel to
loving the
finally
description.
play Thogak? It's been so
Fucking
long.
amazing.
It's
Like,
been
I
so
was
long.
worried about Thogak because, like, it's been so long that the want to play him has kind of died out.
Yeah.
But being in the world, I'm like, yes.
That's
I wanna
the only
play
thing I
Thogak.
could hope for. I was like, I know I'm keeping them on the ropes for like 2 years, but just hopefully when they get into the world, they'll remember their characters. So that's nice.
Just want you to know, I trusted you the entire time.
That's good.
And I am
Thank you.
so glad I did.
Thank you. I hope to please. Yeah.
I
So
am
that
excited.
that title card is what
It
got
was
deleted.
epic.
That's what got deleted. I had drawn the hand, well, borderline traced the hand. I did a lot more work on it the first time. The second time I was like, fuck it. But yeah, so I had done all of that. I had gotten the cracks drawn and everything basically that you see, and then it got deleted. So I had to redraw it all. So that's what I was slightly irritated about earlier, but yes, I
God.
will
Okay, now I know why you were irritated. Drawing a hand.
Well, that's
Yeah.
not the hard part, because I had like extensive reference. It was really the cracks. 'cause
Oh,
I
okay.
was like, how can I make it look
Yeah.
like glass? Yeah, I am gonna stop
It
the
looks
stream here, though. So we're gonna
very
end this
much like
episode.
glass.
So it's been a pleasure to have you. Thank you very much.
Yes, yes.
Second
It's been a
character to
pleasure
come on.
be here.
Tomorrow or next time we will meet Kazara,
And thus
the measure of a man.